Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Mia Rosal, and I welcome you to our World System Builder Financial Education Night. I know all of us are logged in from multiple locations all over North America, both US and Canada. But I'd like to especially welcome all our guests, all our first-time attendees to our webinar here this evening. So I know that there's a lot of things going on today, but we are glad, to be happy to be able to share with you something that we're very passionate about, and that is our campaign for financial literacy. Something that I know is very important for a lot of families to understand, and more than ever, very relevant in our society today. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce, our presenter this evening. Let me just remind everybody, if you have any questions, please hold off to your questions, and direct them to that person that invited you this evening. All right, and so I'm very excited to share with you our presenter. This lady has had several experience with our organization, and she will have a chance to share with you her story. And so without further ado, let me bring up, our presenter live from San Jose, California, Miss Alicia Nguyen.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening. And thank you, Mia, for the wonderful introduction, as well as kicking off today's Financial Education Night. Today is April 1st, and at the same time in the United States, it's the kickoff to April, which is Financial Literacy Month. But actually, our campaign is not only special to this month or during this period of time. Our campaign has started over 34 years ago. And so tonight, we are very excited to host our National Financial Education Night, where we have actually 4 webinars happening at the same time. This orientation that you're going to hear from me in English, we have the same orientation happening in Spanish right now. Our workshop on proper protection and building a solid financial foundation for the US, and also the same workshop happening in Canada. We have over 6,000 people registered for across all 4 webinars, and currently right now joining our webinar in itself, we already have 1,962 people, and it's growing as every minute continues. So we're really excited, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share more with you about who we are, what we do, and why we're so passionate about this campaign. First, I'd like to share give you a little bit about what to expect this evening. First and foremost is that we allotted up to 90 minutes, but I actually only expect to take about 75 minutes of that, so no more than that. I should finish around 7 to 7:10, somewhere in between that time. And also, I wanted to share with you about what are the different elements of my presentation today. So this is what you can expect to see. We are going to share with you a little bit about who we are, and that's through our video. And then I'm going to share with you about our community, who we are, as well as our mission through our materials like Saving Your Future book and workbook, our vision, which is to build a new industry. You'll get to hear from 2 other campaigners to hear their perspective and their experience about how our campaign has helped them. I'm going to share with you a survey that our members will help follow up with you after this is over, as well as just give some closing statements as we end. And so before we get started with all of this, I'd like to just introduce myself to you, because my journey started before I was even born. Actually, my mom and dad actually joined this campaign 34 years ago. And at the time, my parents had actually were new refugees to America. They came in 1975 after the Vietnam War. And for 10 years, my dad was a social worker and my mom was an accountant. And just like many Americans today, they were making enough to pay the bills, pretty much like a paycheck to paycheck, but they were always looking for ways to make, they just felt like they needed a few extra $100 a month, a few $100 to be able to pay off their debt faster, save up more money for retirement faster, or save up money for me and my 2 older brothers, our college education. And so, my dad had a great chance for somebody to invite him to listen to the same presentation that you're going to hear today. And he said that he decided to be part of this campaign because it was the first time in 10 years in America where he heard somebody talk about saving money. And so the great thing was that he was able to become part of our campaign and also get licensed and do this do this business on a part-time basis. So he kept his full-time job as a social worker, but on the weeknights or in the evenings and on the weekends, he was able to go out and share people about this financial literacy campaign. And while doing so, he was able to get compensated, where 2 years later, actually the money he made here on a part-time basis actually surpassed what he was making full-time as a social worker. And so with that, after 2 years, he decided to become a full-time campaigner and also have my mom quit her job and become full-time. And actually, when they both went full-time is when I was born. So my whole childhood has been based off of this campaign, World System, and our organization, World System Builder. However, just like many other kids in America, I grew up and wanting to have my own career and my own education. So I went to college and originally majored in communications. My dream job was to become a news anchor. I wanted to read. I wanted to be a mini celebrity in the Bay Area, read people, the traffic and the news every day. And, I thought that it would be something I would be very passionate about. Well, I got a really big reality check in 2008, which is the year before I graduated from college. As many of you know or probably experienced just like I did, was the global financial crisis of 2008, where the market was crashing and many people lost a lot of money in their retirement accounts or in their savings, where the market was so bad, many people had to lose their home and a lot of people became unemployed. Let me ask you something. Does that sound a little bit familiar about what's happening today? It's amazing how history has repeated itself, close to 12 years later, but for a completely different reason. Nobody would have saw this pandemic happening this year. Nobody would have expected to have such a global impact across every single industry. But we're very lucky to be in the financial industry and to be on this national financial literacy campaign, where even through this crisis right now, what I have learned, just like in the previous years where the market was going up and the economy was doing well, people need financial education. But also during a time like this, where many people are stressed or feel panic, people also need financial education. So anyways, back to my story. It was in that time where I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do after college? As I saw so many people around me getting laid off, or many of my peers, fellow graduates, not being able to find a job after graduation, just like me. But I saw one family, I saw a person that no matter what was happening in the world, it didn't seem like the lifestyle had changed. And that was actually my father. That year in 2008, I saw that his business was still thriving. There was the same number of people showing up at the meetings and convention. In fact, it was actually growing. We still went on our vacations that year. It almost seemed like the financial crisis had no impact on my family whatsoever. And that was the only time that really opened my eyes and said that maybe there's something that my dad is doing or that my dad knows that many other people don't know about. And so I gave myself a chance and told myself, to be honest, at the time, the economy wasn't doing so well. So I said that, why don't I just try, to be part of this campaign with my father, and I'll give myself a 2-year chance. And if in 2 years I don't learn anything, I don't like it, or I don't make any money, then worst case scenario, I can always go back to corporate America. Would you all agree that corporate America is always there, right? So now, as of today, I've been here for 9.5 years. This in September will be my 10-year anniversary. And so obviously in those 2 years that I originally gave myself a deadline, I either made money, I either learned something, and actually the reality is I fell in love with this campaign. And that's why, basically being part of this for the last 9.5 years has made me understand a lot about my family, how this campaign has helped me, but also how it's been able to impact many of other families out there. And so with that, I want to share with you our first video, which is an introduction to share with you and to give you a concept of that. Not only do what we do is we help people learn about building a solid financial foundation, but at the same time, they learn how to enjoy life and experience life and travel as well. So with that, we'll show you the video. What we see is your slides. So if you can try to play the video, please. Okay, so while John works on that, you know, what the video is going to share with you is show you a little bit about our campaigners. You know, we actually are on all 50 states of US as well as all provinces of Canada, and we all come from many different backgrounds and experiences. And so, you know, many of us here have been here for maybe less than 1 year, 1 to 5 years, and we have many people in our organization between 5, 10 to even over 20 plus years, right? And people can get started with us as young as 18, and even up to someone I met a few months ago was 91 who just passed their license. So it looks like the video is working now, and let's go ahead and show it. So we apologize. I know it's a little bit choppy, but I hope you all can understand how much it takes to be able to stream a live video to now we have 2,500 people that's logged into this webinar. But as you can see, you know, what our campaign is all about is not only about the financial education, but also giving people, you know, a chance to be able to have, you know, income on a flexible basis, right? And so that's why you can see that people are logged in all across the North America right now because of our wonderful campaign. Okay, so with that, I want to introduce to you a little bit about our community and show you who we are. So you can see what we have here is our Facebook community group online, and what we currently have, you see my mouse over here, we currently have 60,000 members that are part of our online community. And so what this is basically a live news feed of all the people that and all of, you know, whatever they want to share. This is, for example, you know, Ashley sharing about a new campaigner that just joined us in Louisiana. Another person here, you know, getting recognized for their accomplishment. Here we have Gary from Atlanta, you know, sharing about how he's still able to go and share our campaign through using things like our technology, like Zoom that we have here today. People sharing tips, people talking about how they're still able to pass license, talking about, you know, where they're from in San Diego. So this is pretty much a live stream, you know, 24/7 that you can come on and see all the good news about our campaign. But I really would love to share with you some highlights that I've personally chosen to give you an idea more about who we are and what we do from the WSB Community Facebook. So For example, we have our financial education workshops. And so before, of course, the shelter in place, we have over 300 financial centers all across North America where people can come and for free to our workshops in our offices. And so we are essentially almost educating, hundreds, if not thousands of people on a weekly and daily basis through all of our financial education centers. But also, we want to outreach to the community. So on top of that, we are able to bring our campaign to people's homes, right? Of course, when it's safe, not right now, a shelter in place, but these are previous pictures, as you can see, of, campaigners allowing us to, bring the community or bring our workshops to their living room so that the way they can share with their family and to their friends, in the comfort of their home. Instead of waiting for them to come to the financial center. This is also us reaching to the community through the public libraries and also to universities. This is a picture of our workshop being taught at Columbia University, or even adult education centers. This is from Toronto. We also have our workshops being presented in churches and religious centers, as well as small businesses like this dental office right here, or big businesses, big corporations like Oracle, a big brand name here in the United States. And of course, government agencies as well, just like this is that we were honored from the FBI for what we're doing for the community, and we did do a class for them as well, but as also sharing our campaign one by one, right? So just reaching out to our coworkers, our relatives, our family and friends about the need of financial education. And what are results from this campaign as well as the workshops? How are people applying and what are they doing with that? Well, I want to share with you, for example, Cherie, who shared with us that, if you can read in the yellow that I highlighted for you, I paid off my 5th credit card and I'm so proud of myself. I applied what I learned from workshop 1 and thanks to the financial literacy campaign, and her showing a screenshot of having 0 balance that she owes on her credit card that she was able to pay off because of our workshop. What about student loans? Such a hot topic right now. And look at this, our campaigner, Van from Vancouver, he said, thanks to our financial literacy campaign and our wonderful business, this will represent the very last student loan that our family will ever have to make. And you can see the letter that he took a picture of, that congratulations, your student loans are paid in full. And Van's not even 40 years old yet he was able to pay off all his student loans. This is Blaselle, where she writes that, thank you, WSB, for the opportunity you have given me and my family, the opportunity of financial education. I'm so thankful for Everest Funeral Service for helping us lessen the burden, not only financially, but being that liaison to find the right funeral home and doing all the planning and negotiations is exceptional. It helped me focus on grieving for my mom instead of stressing out on where and how to get help. Right, so whether you're young or whether you're grieving, we help everybody, as well as everything in between. This is our campaigner, Mary Lee, who was able to help a student get into Pace University and receive a total scholarship of $104,000. Parents, let me ask you, how long would it take you for you to save $100,000 to be able to send your child to school? Right, but through proper financial education and the right resources, there's potential for you, to get help. And, I mentioned earlier, just like my father started on a part-time basis, this is an example of another campaigner today, who is still part-time. As you can see, she talked about how can I maximize being part-time campaigner and a full-time registered nurse. And Giza today is still part-time with us and is still full-time registered nurse. In fact, showing us pictures recently of her, going to the hospital and helping patients during this COVID-19 crisis. But in her downtime, she understands the importance of not only health as well as wealth, that they're highly linked together, right? But also, I mentioned to you, just like my father, we've been able to help people go full-time. So, this one was written about by Maggie. She wrote about her campaigner or her team member named Ann Zhao. She said, so proud of Ann Zhao. She just followed a simple system, working part-time, and made over $150,000 annual income in WFG to support her son's 4-year college with no student loans. So she took the money that she made with us and used it to pay off her son's college tuition. And after her son's college graduation, and decided to walk out on her 22-year job at a hotel and became full-time with WSP, right? So part-time, full-time, we are flexible. And just two more examples, like this is Nga here, who said, thank you for the financial knowledge that WFG and WSP has taught me along the way. I now know how to build a strong financial foundation. And here she's showing you, if you look at the picture, she was able to pay off her loan of $21,000. She's debt free now. She has $100,000 saved in the bank as an emergency fund and investments. She has proper protection because of understanding and having financial education. On top of that, she was able to travel the world, while having a strong financial foundation. And Diane, after helping, she has been a longtime campaigner with us over 20 years, but because of a strong financial education, once she had her daughter 5 years ago, she has been able to take her daughter Danielle all across the world. So she said, thank you very much, WSP, for giving our 5-year-old daughter Danielle such an amazing life. At only 5 years old, she has already traveled to 9 different countries, and she was just showing all the pictures here. And so obviously, we will start traveling and start opening up our financial centers when is the right time that is safe for everybody to do so. But, even right now, as we're all sheltering in place, we're still able to help the community with our great cause, right? And so, which is the National Financial Literacy Campaign. And so with that, I want to share with you about our mission, right? Why do we have financial literacy campaign? What is the need of it? And, before, as you saw how we were able to reach out to the community on so many different ways, it all started off with our 2 materials, our Saving Your Future book and our workbook, right? This was just created back in 2016. And the reason why we created it was we realized that, how can we reach out to the community faster? And what we decided to do was write all of our financial education in this simple book. As you can see, it's very, very thin. And I'm about to show you that it has big words and a lot of charts, so it's very easy to read. And our goal is basically, how can we just keep reaching out to people faster and easier? And so this book, not only we have in English, but we also have it in Spanish, Chinese, as well as Vietnamese as well, and possibly future languages to come. So with that, I would like to start sharing with you a few pages of why it is so important for us to have financial education and why we wrote this book. Okay, so the title of this book is called Saving Your Future, and it's basically a book about Finance 101 and teaching people about basic principles of building a financial foundation. So I'm very proud to announce that we have over 1.5 million copies that are already been printed as well as distributed as well. Excuse me while it focuses here. But I want to share with you about the table of contents. And so, as you look at this, these are all the topics that we talk about in this book. And I would like to ask you, how many of you could confidently say that if you look at all of these different topics, for example, insurance, annuities, investments like mutual funds, exchange traded funds, retirement plans like IRA, Roth, Simple, or SEP IRA, or Medicare, long-term care estate planning. How many of you could raise your hand and say, you know what, I am so confident that Alicia, if you just pointed to any topic in this book, I could explain it to you. Well, you know what, for 9.5 years that I've been doing this, I have found that not many people have been able to answer that question, right? And that's why, wouldn't you agree that at least, for all the years that we spend in school, it's worth it for us to spend, is it fair to ask 6 months of you or 1 year of you to take our classes repeatedly until you learn about these financial concepts? What is the purpose of working so hard, but yet we don't understand financial education? Okay, so with that, I'd like to share with you a little bit of our introduction. So our introduction, according to surveys conducted by Federal Reserve, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, and research firms in Canada and America, North Americans are facing serious financial challenges. In Canada, 31% of Canadians don't make enough money to cover their monthly expenses. More than half say that they're within $200 away from not being able to pay their bills. 47% of Canadians aged 55 to 64 have no employer pension, and the median value of retirement saving is only $3,000. Canadians, can I ask you, how long can $3,000 last you for your retirement, right? What about the US? The picture is even gloomier. 40% of Americans struggle to pay their bills on time. The average American household carries at least $16,000 in credit card debt, and 44% say they cannot cover unexpected expenses of at least $400. And isn't that true? That's why we see what's happening right now is, the government talking about a stimulus package for those that are struggling, just because of 1 month not being able to work, right? So, most of us don't want to become a statistics, but these problems are all around us. They happen to our own family and our friends' families. It's ironic that we live in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but we always have money problems. We can work hard all our lives, but retire poor. We do so much to raise our kids just to see them finish college with a lot of debt, and debt becomes a way of life. And so what is our goal, everyone? Okay. Our goal is for this book, we just want to explain finance as how a friend would want to talk to another friend. We want to make it simple enough using common language for common people. We don't intend to get into a lot of detail, but we're more focused on the fundamentals of how money works. We try to use simple examples and common assumptions. The best we can hope for is to get your attention and interest into financial matters and for you to attain some basics on how money works. It is the first step towards your financial future. So everyone, if I may ask you, it's the first step, but not your only step, right? I think all of you can agree with me that you cannot learn everything about finance in 1 hour, and you can't learn everything about our organization and our campaign in 1 hour as well. So please make sure after I'm done here giving you just a brief intro that you talk to the person, you call the person that invited you and ask them your questions or talk about how you can get started, because it will take you more steps to be able to learn about your future, right? But like many of us, once you enter the gate of financial knowledge, you'll discover that it's doable to understand, plan, and build a financial foundation for your family. So I just want to share with you some of the things on here, right? What are some of the financial education? You can see that this is our typical stool that we call, or three-legged chair of retirement. And usually when people retire, they rely on these three things: company pensions, Social Security, and personal savings. Well, let me ask you, how many of you, your company still offers you a pension plan? Okay, usually it's almost like less than 10% in the room. So most of us, this leg doesn't even exist anymore. And what about Social Security? Has anybody heard the new term for it? Did you know that they have a new name? It's called yo-yo. You're on your own, right? So this one is, the check is so small, it's hard to rely on this as well. So really, the only thing we have to rely on is ourselves. That's why there is a huge need to build wealth. Okay, how do we build wealth? We have to start with our financial foundation. So how do we prioritize our finances? We got to start off with protection, and then debt management, then build an emergency fund, and then build our investments. So just like building a house, you have to build from the ground up. How many of you would buy a home if they built the roof first? Right? So every home we buy because we want to have a solid foundation. And this is how we build that financial foundation. But how do you build it? Did you know that there's actually a wealth formula? Okay, so, money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work for it, but there is a formula for you to build on. So the formula is, it takes money to make money. Then you got to give yourself time. Okay, then plus or minus your rate of return, minus inflation, minus taxes that are always negative, and that's how you get wealth. So the main idea is that can you control and get more positives than you do your negatives? Okay. So with that, I want to talk to you about the need to save. Pay yourself first. Can you set aside 5 to 10% of your income to save for the future? And if possible, save 15% or more. Treat it like a bill that you have to pay, and pay it first. That's your family financial bill. Doesn't it make sense to pay your family first before paying other people's bills? Your cable TV bill is not more important than your family financial well-being. Although right now in a time like this, I'm sure that it feels like Netflix is pretty important because we're all sheltering in place. But the reality is, I think we all agree that, you know, we need to start saving $5, $10, $20 a day for our financial future. Now, many of you say $5 a day, $10 a day, that's not that much. And would it really make a big difference? So that's why, you know, we just continue to buy our boba or take a Uber or go out to lunch or dinner. Well, let me share with you how powerful $10 or $20 a day can be. Did you know that $10 a day, right? If you get 8%, then in 30 years, it can grow to $450,000, right? And if you can, how much is really $10 a day? Is that just maybe, you know, 2 Starbucks drinks or 1 lunch that we can, you know, pack on our own so that we can save that money? Or what about $20 a day? That can grow up to $900,000. So imagine by just being disciplined a little bit on a daily basis, we can have a big impact, right? And another part you have to understand the need to save is something called the Rule of 72. I'm not going to go through it with you today, but please make sure that you ask somebody for a copy of this book, because this rule right here can, if you understand it, it can impact everything. It can impact how fast you pay off your debt. It can impact how fast you save for retirement or for your children's college education. And so, you know, many of us were always wondering how we can save money on taxes. Well, everybody has a different tax strategy, but did you know that there's different places that you can put your money and it has different tax impacts, right? So that is for the US, and here's for Canada, since we have many Canadian friends here as well. And I love this X curve right here, right? Which is basically what our X curve is trying to show you is that as you get older, right, we want you, isn't it common sense that you need to save money while paying off your debt at the same time, right? And so, usually when we talk about this, we ask many families, we say that, what is your biggest asset? And guess what most people's answer is? My house, right? But the reality is, do you agree that it takes money to save money? It also takes money to pay off debt. So the reality is your biggest asset is you, because it's your ability to make income and to make money to pay off debt and build wealth. So that's why it's very important to understand financial education. And with that, the last thing I just want to share from this book is this concept called managed growth, right? In a moment of time like this, why are many of our campaigners that are with us so certain, even though times are uncertain? It's because we understand the power of diversifying our money and financial education and making sure that we save in places that have growth or safety or tax advantages and protection, so that we feel very secure about our financial future. Okay? And so where can you learn, you know, after we wrote that book, we realized that we needed to follow up with some financial literacy classes. And that's what you see is our workbook right here. So, you know, we have a question. We say that, is money controlling you, or do you control your money? Okay? You know, I agree that money does not equal happiness, but I think many of you would also agree that money dictates a lot of decisions that we make on a daily basis. It dictates where we live, how much we work, what kind of school our kids get, or even the health care that our parents, when we get them to the doctor. So we have 5 workshops, okay? As you can see here, increasing cash flow and debt management, building a strong financial foundation and proper protection, building wealth and asset accumulation, retirement planning and wealth preservation, and building a business in the financial industry. And Mia will share with you later about our schedule on our workshops here. But, you know, what are the things that we teach you? We teach you, for example, you know, remember I talked to you about $10 a day? Well, what if I told you, if you attend our workshop number 1, we're going to show you 26 different ways how you can start saving $10 or $20 a day just by cutting down on a few simple things, right? Or here in workshop number 2, how many of you understand how to read a financial statement, right? Or an illustration? We're going to share with you how to read that. Or in workshop 3, how many of you understand terms such as, how many of you understand terms such as dollar cost averaging or asset allocation. These are very important terms for you to understand when it comes to investing your money. And in workshop 4, we have here, like I mentioned, what are the differences between IRAs, 403bs, 401ks, 457s, and annuities and long-term care and estate planning. So, we will share with you more about our financial workshops, either through the schedule later or through the person that invited you. So with that, I want to share with you, now that you understand the campaign and why we have our, materials and our campaign in place. But what is our vision, our long-term vision about what we want to do with our National Financial Literacy Campaign? And what our goal is to build a whole new industry, right? We want to change the face of what people see is the financial industry right now. We want to do that with our National Campaign for Financial Literacy. So what we see is that there's tons of uncertainty on the horizon right now, right? The world is absolutely changing in unpredictable ways, and so is our financial future. To cut costs, many jobs many companies are moving jobs overseas or just layoffs right now. Automation may mean more job losses, and many small businesses, as we have seen all probably in our local state or city, many small businesses are struggling right now. So it used to be we work for 40 years from 25 to 65 and then retire. But now many of us the average time we work at one company is only 5 years. So how can we build a financial foundation when we're always in and out of jobs like that, right? And what are the obstacles we're facing? I already shared with you about the retirement crisis, but as we can see right now, education crisis, tuition keeps going up, and more student loans have now even surpassed car loan and credit card debt combined. But last but not least, I really believe that it all has to do with the spending crisis, right? So if you all can read the bottom 2 bullet points with me. Some people spend more on things they don't need with money they don't have, right? To impress people they don't even like. And keeping up with our social media friends can get very expensive, right? So I'm a millennial, or that is my generation. But I think that all of us, no matter what generation we're in, whether you're a Gen Z or you're a Gen X, a baby boomer, we can all see that America has a huge spending crisis right now, right? Everything has become a celebration or a party, whether it's become a baptism, a Super Bowl party, a baby shower, or gender reveal, right? Nowadays with, engagement parties, bridal shower, bachelorette party, honeymoons, proposals, and every single month we're celebrating something. Valentine's Day, July 4th, St. Patrick's Day, even though we're not Irish, right? So what we see is that people are just, overspending, right? And probably in what we have found, in moments like this, is that a lot of times we're overspending, and it's not I have any problem of, I'm not trying to make any of you feel guilty for hosting any of those events. But my main concern is that before you spend $500 for that first 1-year-old birthday, did you save $500 for their college future, right? Or before you spend $30,000 on a wedding, did you even save at least half of that to start paying off your student loan debt, right? Before you decided to have that, big Super Bowl barbecue, did you also save $1,000 for your retirement? We want people to be able to enjoy life, but also do it responsibly. So pay yourself first, and once you've saved properly for your family, then of course, whatever you have left over, we want you to enjoy that, right? So continuing on, what is your situation right now? What is your situation right now? Do you have problem paying your bills? Are you concerned about your job or career? Anybody getting overpaid? Anybody feels like your boss is overpaying you? Okay. Are your children growing up, or your parents growing old faster than you can provide for them? I'm personally feeling this myself. My parents I'm helping, taking care of my mom who recently had open heart surgery, and being a caregiver for her, but also having a 5-year-old son. Can you imagine how many other families out there that have to provide for their parents or their kids and themselves off of just one income, 3 generations off of one income? So what do most people fight about? Is you agree that most families fight about money, right? So it's like I mentioned in the book, it's ironic we live in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but we always have money problems. And basically debt runs our life. So on top of that, the problem is that we lack financial knowledge, okay? We don't have much, but on top of that, we don't know much. We were not taught how to manage our money or read a financial statement. Financial issues are not often discussed, and products are not always understood. Some buy insurance policies, then bury it in the closet. Some people contribute to their retirement plan and don't even pay attention to it. A large number of people don't have a will, a trust, or a plan to protect their family. So we are active spenders. Let me ask, how many of you, right, that before you buy something on Amazon, you look at the reviews? Or before you go eat somewhere, you look on Yelp? But why is it that when it comes to our money and to our finances, we don't have any idea about what's going on, right? So we want to change that as WSB. We want to become active savers and passive spenders, right? And that's why we believe so much into financial education. Your future is not in the hands of your employer or your union or your government. And it's not in the hands of your bank or your broker. It's in your hands. Right? You need to learn how to make money, how to save money, how to accumulate money, and how to protect your money. Warren Buffett said that unless you learn how to make money in your sleep, you work until you die. So be educated, become your own money manager, because knowing less can actually cost you more. Understand how money works and make money work for you. So we spend years in school how to make a living. But isn't it fair for me to ask you to spend 6 months, spend a year to learn financial basics so that you can save yourself a fortune for your future and for your family? You won't be free until you're financially free. So our mission is to help you with 6 items. Number 1, understand how money works. Number 2, have a goal and plan for the future. Number 3, cut down your expenses. Number 4, reduce your debt and liability. Number 5, increase your cash flow. And number 6, embrace change and expect to succeed. You know that when you have complete control of your future, that's why it doesn't matter what happens in the market. It doesn't matter what happens when it comes to a virus or what happens to the government. We feel so in control. We feel so positive and happy about our future, right? So that's why our campaigners have invited you to come on this workshop today, because they want you to feel the same sense of control that they have, right? Nobody plans to fail. How many of you ever plan to fail your retirement? You plan to fail your college student loan. Nobody of us planned that. But that's why if you're part of our organization and you surround yourself by many people that are planners, many people that are positive and optimistic, then we can become one of those people that are positive and plan for ourselves, right? So be part of our industry, right? Our national campaign for financial literacy. Help us reach our goal. We're in the tail end of our goal right now. Our goal is to hit 1 million people by the end of 2020. So we have about 8 months left, and you could help us make that happen, right? Be part of the 1 million to be financially educated by the end of this year. And do that through attending our workshops that I already shared with you. But here's what makes WSB special is not only we have the workshops, but once you learn about property protection, once you learn about emergency fund, once you learn about investments or retirement, we have the platform to help you execute these plans, right? So you can get the proper education, and we work with hundreds of different companies with different financial solutions so that you can learn, but also you can implement at the same time. Because the whole point of education is for you to take action, okay? And we can help you with that knowledge and those strategies and solutions. And we're all across different areas of finance as well. So become an informed consumer, right? We want you to get educated, get educated about personal finance, have access to 100 products and services, receive training to manage your money. And also, you can become a member. And if you like, You can learn how to make referral income. In California right now, we have a way for you to make money even though you're not licensed through referral income, and it is going to come for the rest of the country as well as Canada in the future later this year. But also, if you get a license, this is available everywhere right now. Once you get a license, you can also learn how to make commissions. So you can learn and earn in the financial industry at the same time, right? So we want you to become part of our distribution. Whoever controls distribution control the market. So an example of distribution is places like Amazon or McDonald's, right? That because of their platform, they've been able to, no matter what you put on their platform, many people are able to get it in their homes right away. So same thing with us. If you think about financial education, how many people are offering the services like we are? That's why we need you to become part of our campaign and help us distribute this financial education. Because there's only so many people that I personally can talk to myself, right? But with you on board, you can help me talk to your friends, your families, your coworkers. Join us. We currently have 20,000 people, licensed professionals, but probably even more so that are in the process of getting licensed, right? Join us and become one of our campaigners and help us with distribution. Because there's only two ways to make it big. Either you have a lot of money to make money for you, or you help a lot of people make more money, and then you can make more money. So we're truly a revolution in the financial industry. So our platform, we're very proud to be part of a big brand name company called World Financial Group and Transamerica. So some of you know right here in Bay Area, we have the famous Transamerica building in the skyline of San Francisco. But also we have a proven track record. We cannot guarantee you success, but we have proven success, right? And this is an older number. In 2016, we have over 4,700 people that make at least a 6 or 7-figure income. But this does not count the thousands of people that make 99,000 or 90,000 or 20,000. Many people making very good part-time and full-time income, right? So how are we able to be proven like that? How we help them is we help you become from a trainee to a trainer and eventually become a builder and system builder. So we are with you every step of the way, right? And we have people from many different backgrounds, different English levels, different education levels that proven that our system works. And so, of course, right now, it is not the right time to be traveling, but, once it is safe, our goal is every single year we bring thousands of people all across the world, right? Last year in 2019, we brought 5,000 people, the first time in Israel's history for that many people to come at one time to their country. In 2018, we brought 4,000 people to go to Vietnam. And once it is safe to travel again, we have many more plans and many more countries in the future. Because you know why? Happy travels equal happy families. If you think about yourself, do you remember what your mom or dad gave to you when you were 5, 6, 7 years old as a birthday gift? But I'm pretty sure many of us don't. But I'm pretty sure many of us will remember the time that you went camping with your family, or the summer vacation you took to Disneyland. And that's what we try to do here. How we have 5,000 people with us is because our campaigners are financially educated members. They learn about how to save money for their future, and they also learn how to live well. Right? So they take their families, they take their children, they take their siblings, their parents on all of these destinations with us, and almost create memories that often that they would not have had without our organization. So what does your life look like 5 years from now? Okay, you can either start with us, Save Your Future, by learning how money works, getting out of debt, making extra income, and start saving for your future. Or you can build your future. Okay, so learn how to transition into our industry, build residual income, and build a team. Or you can be part of something very big. Build a large organization all over US and Canada, and educate and help thousands of families. There's a quote Mr. Bill Gates has. He said that if you're born poor, it's not your mistake. Because you cannot control the environment that you brought yourself into. But if you die poor, then it's your mistake. Because you were invited here today. Right? And you have a chance to start learning and start educating yourself and change the future for your family. So that's why take this chance so you don't make that mistake for your future. Help us make our difference and join our cause. Our mission is to help build and protect wealth for families, and we want to help people move from financial insecurity to financial independence. And our vision is to build a new industry with 1 million business associates worldwide and revolutionize the financial services industry to help resolve the consumer's dilemma, which is currently a lack of understanding, a lack of planning, and lack of support. So this is a quote from my father. He said that find something you believe in and put your life to fight for it. How many of you, can you at least raise your hand, or you can click on there, raise your hand. How many of you agree that at least you believe that financial education is something that is needed in North America right now, right? If you believe in that, then be part of our campaign and join many of us and putting our life, or whether it's part-time or full-time, to fight for it. Okay, so with that, I want you to hear from, now that you have a good understanding and background about what our campaign is about and how we help people, I want you to hear from two more people so you can see different experiences and different backgrounds, how this campaign has been able to help them. So first, I'm going to call on one of my great friends from Canada, because our campaign is both in US and Canada and North America. So Kat Labossiere is going to share with you about how this campaign has helped her and her family.
Awesome. Hello, Alicia.
Hi, Kat.
Hello. Any Canadians in the house? My name is Catherine Labossiere, out of Winnipeg, right in the dead center of Canada, and I'm excited to share with you. I love being a part of this campaign. There's over 2,700 people on this call this evening, so congratulations. I'm just average and ordinary, like everybody else on this call. I'll share with you, I grew up way out in the country, out in the farm, very far from a major city center. And my parents taught me to work hard and get an education. And my first day that I moved into the city, into the big city, and went to university, I signed up for a credit card. And nobody had taught me how to manage a credit card or anything like that. But guess what? I used it, and I used it a lot. And then when that baby got full, I used another one and got another one. And so many years passed, and I tell you what, I met my husband. We're high school sweethearts, and we were very fortunate to get great careers out of university. However, nobody had taught us the money game. So by the time we were 27 years old, we were so far into debt, but we looked really good on the outside. We had a beautiful home, we had beautiful vehicles, we had a quad in the back, our son was 2 at the time. We thought we were living the life. But it wasn't until this campaign, this financial literacy campaign, was introduced to us. They sat down at our kitchen table and educated us and shared with us a little bit of the information that Alicia shared with you guys. And I'm forever grateful, because I thought at first I was very skeptical, because I thought, hey, I'm an educated woman. I know a lot, but I didn't know anything on the money side. And it frustrated me, because when they shared a lot of that information, my husband and I, frankly, we were being financially irresponsible. So we joined this campaign, and we made a decision that we had to start taking the steps to come in and learn and to take charge over our family's future. And we just made a commitment, because the more I learned about money, the more I learned it wasn't working for my husband and I, it was working for somebody else. Is that fair to say? Right? So, very shortly afterwards, we became clients and started to build our financial house. The information that Alicia shared with you on the financial foundation, we got proper protection. We started to manage our debt and get out of the debt. We started to save more for our family's future. But then very soon afterwards, my husband just was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And he said, you know what? I want to become my own boss, and I want to take this to the next level, and I want to get more involved in the business side. And so we moved back to Manitoba, which is home to us. And you know what? He started this business, came in part-time, eventually went full-time. And then several years later, I resigned from my career and then came in full-time with him. And here we are 13 years later, working a business together all across Canada. And I love that today I get to help and coach and mentor many great family and friends all across the nation. But it's all about taking control. It's all about making the decision to make that commitment to learn. And there's two words that I always share. It's all about control and flexibility. And more than ever, in a time like today with COVID-19, more than ever, everybody is looking for that control and that flexibility. And I'm grateful that we made that decision, because very soon what happens is the government controls us. Our employees control, our employers control us, our banks control us. But I'm proud to say that I love being a part of this campaign because we are in control of our future. We have made that decision to be in control of our family's future. Because if it's not going to be you, who else is it going to be that's going to take that step? Who else is it going to be that's going to be able to share with your family and friends? So thank you guys so much for letting me share with you guys today. Back to you, Alicia.
Thank you so much, Kat. And the next person I'm going to introduce to you, his name is Esteban, who joins us from Southern California.
Hi, Alicia. How are you?
Hi.
Hey, it's good to be here with everybody. Just to share my story here on why I'm on this campaign. A couple of years ago, I was just like everybody else. Went to school. I tried to do everything right. Get my degree. Work hard. Try to advance in my career. And in 2008, I saw job and turnovers were very high. So I knew to get ahead, I had to go back to school. So I did. Spent a lot of time and money doing. Got my MBA. And then went into corporate. And so I moved up in my career. But soon enough, I found out that, with me and everybody else at the company and the different companies I was with, it was the same story. You get into a new position, you settle in, and soon enough, not that long into it, you are on LinkedIn, looking for the next job and the next position to advance your career. And unfortunately, the job security thing that we used to fight for, doesn't really exist anymore, at least. And so, I was looking to do something more. I know eventually, I wanted to make more money, okay? And I wanted to do more in the community, right? So what did I do? I ended up doing a couple startup businesses with people I knew, partners, friends, invested a lot of time and money into those. And then also I volunteered a lot. I became an intake manager at a food bank in my community. And, doing those things, I found, number one, starting a small business, 9 out of 10 times you were going to fail. Okay. And there's no warranties or returns on those. And then second, in getting more in touch with the community, I saw every year or every month, more and more people are becoming homeless. And so I personally would work one-on-one with people who are getting into homelessness. And I find that, a lot of them are not what you'd expect. A lot of them are hardworking people with families that maybe got laid off and lost their house, or they got into medical situations where they had to quit their job, take care of their family, but now they couldn't pay the bills anymore. And so, I was really worried about, where we're going. And you see today, we are in a little bit of a crisis, and we don't know what's going to happen realistically. So, during that time, I was still looking, what can I do? What can I do? And fortunately, somebody invited me to a financial literacy workshop, which is the ones that this organization puts on. And, I was a little bit skeptical that I'd learn anything considering my background. But in the first workshop, I learned a ton. One thing was for sure, I knew that how is it that I don't know these concepts? They're kind of basic. Anyone can pick these up rather quickly, but in all my education experience, never heard of them. And I saw that if I did not know these basic concepts to how to save money, how to pay off debt, and how to plan for retirement, man, there must be so many other people out there with the same thing. And maybe many of you on this call can agree that, we really don't know where or who to trust with our finances. And even if we read a lot, we just find ourselves more confused. And I know that's what people tell me as well. And so, time flies, right? It's been 3 years that I've been with this social enterprise right here. And in this time, I'm very proud to say that I'm more financially literate. I've been able to take care of my finances. But more importantly, not just for me, but, for my sister. She's a hairstylist. She works very, very hard, but she has no backup. She has no retirement. And, I can say that today, I've gotten her out of debt. We figured out a plan to get her out of debt, and she also making more money doing this on the side. So end of it is she's more financially secure than all the other hairstylists about at her salon. Let's just put it that way. And then, for my mom, I really appreciate this because, anything happens to her in her age now, her health will be taken care of because no matter what happens, right, she's got a big reserve of funds that she can use that otherwise she wouldn't have. So I'm really, really proud that this campaign has been able to do this for me and my family. And last but not least, I'm really proud to say that Alicia mentioned went to Israel with 4,000 of our campaigners, and I was one of them, and so was my mom and my sister. It's something that my mom still sheds a tear about when she shares about it. It's something that she can't stop talking about it once she starts. But that trip was like the trip of her life. And when we travel, personally, when we plan our trips, we don't really book all 5-star hotels, even though that's what we really want to do. Probably we don't, right? We try to travel on a budget, but you know what? Because of this organization and what we do, and the culture we have, we travel all 5 stars, and this is what's capable, what's possible here. And so overall, like I'm blessed that I've been able to fulfill on the 3 things that are very important in our lives. Number 1 is time. We're more free to have time with family. We have a flexible schedule. And number 2 is we have our health. Thankfully we have a lot of peace of mind and not a lot of stress about financial issues like today. Sometimes people today, you find them, very, very stressed. You could see it in their face. But we don't have that. And, stress affects your health. And then finally, we have a little bit more money. We have more financial security. And we're making better financial decisions, not just for me and my family, but for the next generation I'm bringing in and so on. So a lasting impact. So we really encourage you to come on board this campaign so you can help yourself and help those around you. Okay, so take it back, Alicia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Esteban. And so what I wanted to share with everyone is that when this is over, our campaigners are going to ask you to take a pop quiz. I'm just kidding. It's a survey. It's a survey to ask you how we can help you with our campaign, or possibly how you can help us with our campaign. So with that, I would just want to share with you some of the questions that they're going to go over with you, so that you can let us know, right? Some questions such as, are you suffering from any financial losses because of the downturn? Or are you concerned about, bills, debts, savings, investments, college education, or not having any proper protection? Do you support any dependents? Are you concerned about your job or your career? Do you feel that financial concepts are confusing? What would you prefer when it comes to your money? Better return or better safety? What is your current age, and what would you like to retire? And what do you want to learn more about? Is it about college planning, about financial foundation and how money works, or learning about a part-time income or a career in the financial industry? And so with that, I want to just share my closing comments with everybody, which is that if I hope that everything you heard here today resonates with you and is something that you can either apply to yourself, or maybe people in your life, because one of the things that we highly depend on is word of mouth, and we would love for you to share our campaign with others that but I want to just share with you another reason why I'm personally so grateful for this campaign. My dad has been part of this organization for 34 years. And, he was, like I mentioned, a refugee whose English was a second language and just coming from a simple background as a social worker. But because of this campaign, not only it helped him to make money, but it also learned him how to be financially educated. And so after only 7 years being in this campaign, my dad was able to become a debt-free family, or make our family a debt-free family. And we've been debt-free ever since for the last 27 years in America. So me and my brother's college education, debt-free. Anything that we own today, from homes to vehicles or whatever, is all debt-free. And so just because of this campaign, my dad was not only to impact him, but my brothers and myself, as well as now I have one son, my brother has a son, and there's 2 on the way. So ultimately, my dad was able to change 3 generations. And I'm very confident that because of this financial education, our legacy as our family will be able to continue to be a debt-free family for many generations to come. So if my family can do it, your family can do it too. So I hope you give yourself a chance and give your family a chance. Thank you so much. And let's hand it back to Mia to share with you about some of the future events we have. Thank you.
All right, so that is it for our financial education night. We thank you, Alicia, the rest of our speakers, and for every single one of you that joined us this evening. I just wanted to let every guest know we have to make sure that you get together with that person that invited you tonight, and do expect a call, if not tonight, tomorrow, okay? Now, I do want to let you know that we have several webinars in place and in schedule, for the rest of you. Like tomorrow, I asked that person that invited you to add you to our Facebook community so that you can have access to all our webinars. Like tomorrow, we have 4 different webinars. Some are financial workshops and also more webinars about our campaign. So that's why it's very important for you to get together, with that person that invited you so that you can address any questions or concerns. And, I hope to see you at our next webinars, all right? So that is it, and that concludes our presentation for tonight. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.